All right, so we're going to solve an inequality. And in this lesson, I'm going to start with a quadratic inequality. So we're going to solve x squared plus 4x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. No matter what type of inequality, if it's greater than or equal to 0, your first step is going to have to be to find the zeros. In other words, figure out when, in this case, x squared plus 4x minus 3 actually equals 0. Because this quadratic doesn't factor, we're going to use the quadratic formula. We got x equals negative 4 plus or minus b squared, which is 16, minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a, so 2 times 1. All right, so simplifying, we're going to get then the zeros to be x equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 12 divided by 2. X equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 28 over 2. Continuing to simplify, negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 7 over 2. So our zeros become negative 2 plus or minus root 7. So we have two zeros. We're now zeros and plot them on our number line. So I'm going to draw a number line. And I'm going to plot the negative 2 minus root 7 and the negative 2 plus root 7 on the number line. Now I have to be careful and make sure I put them in the correct order. So it is important that you put the smaller one to the left and the bigger one to the right. We know that this one's bigger because of the plus sign. All right. Now, the quadratic we're solving, remember, is x squared plus 4x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. We now know that that quadratic equals 0 at these 2 points. So those are my x-intercepts, or the zeros. I think of my number line as the x-axis. Now you can choose numbers in the various areas of the number line. So you could pick a number in here, for instance, plug it in and see if it's positive or negative. You could pick a number in between, see if it's positive or negative, and same thing on this side. However, sometimes it's difficult for people to come up with those numbers. So rather than pick those numbers, I picture the parabola. So I know that this is a parabola that opens up. And I now know the two zeros of the parabola. So I'm just going to imagine the parabola opening up through those two zeros like that. Now where I see the parabola above the x-axis, I realize that that's when those values are positive. So in this case, the parabola is above the x-axis to the left and to the right. So those are when the x squared plus 4x minus 3 is positive. In the middle then, where the parabola falls below the x-axis, that's where that parabola would be negative. All right, so I want to know basically when the parabola is greater than 0, so I think of that as positive. And when I look, I realize that the two sections would be when x is less than negative 2 minus root 7, or when x is greater than negative 2 plus root 7. So that's where it's positive. Because the equal to sign was also included, I will also write equal on the negative 2 minus root 7 and negative 2 plus root 7.